Welcome to the podcast, guys. We are going to go through practical tips for a driven mindset. Now, this is coming from one of our clients, so I want to discuss the practical side of things, not just talking about mindset, but actually things that you can do to really solidify your mindset for your health and your fitness to get into better health, better fitness, better shape. And I think the first thing I want to discuss is the difference between momentum and motivation. Motivation is that first gear of your car. It's setting off, and this is what we need to start that momentum building. You need some kind of motivation to get your ass going. That might be a comment from somebody. That might be a little look in the mirror and not happy. It could be watching this video and going, oh yeah, that's actually resonated a little bit. You need something to get you going. But then very, very quickly, you need to be shifting into second gear. You need to be doing something about that. And then from second gear, going to third, to go to fourth, to go to fifth. This is ingraining routine with your exercise, routine with your diet, routine with your movement, and then just being consistent with that. And then throughout life, never going back down to that first gear, always going anywhere between second and fifth. You're going to have dips. You're going to have times when you have to slow down a little bit on your journey throughout life, because sometimes life dictates that. But that is the difference of people that get in shape and stay in shape and people that never actually achieve their goal. People that never achieve their goal are always in first gear. They're motivated, the motivation's there, they don't like their appearance, they don't like what's looking back in the mirror, they hated that comment from a friend who are having a bit of banter, but actually it resonated with you a little bit, that you've gained a bit of weight. You don't like that you can't play with your kids for longer than 2 minutes without being out of breath. But that's the first gear. That's the motivation. Quickly, we need to put that into practicality and then stay on that. So that's the difference between motivation and momentum. We need that motivation to kickstart us, but then we need to build some momentum off the back of that. And I think the biggest and the quickest way that you can build momentum is by seeing results, right? If you start seeing a change, any shape or form, you're going to be more motivated, which means you're going to take more action, and this builds that snowball, and that's what we want to build. So a quick, easy way of doing this is getting some kind of result. But you need to understand, and this is again where a lot of people may struggle, they go from chapter 0, not doing anything, to chapter 2. I need to see results, so I'm going to go to chapter 2. I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to start dieting, boom. But what they've missed is the vital part, and that's chapter 1, where you need to identify where you're at right now. You need to really get clear on, this is why we do our weights, our measurements, our photos. Really get a clear view of where you're at your rock bottom, where you do not want to return to. You need to get a clear vision of that. And then you want to get a clear vision of, well, what do I want to achieve? What's my goal? What's going to give me fulfillment? What's going to give me content? What's going to make me more confident, more happy, more energetic, more fitter, more healthier, more role model? Whatever it is your specific goal is, let's get clear on what that goal looks like. Then you can kind of bridge that gap with, obviously, well, what do I need to do to get there? That's your chapter 2. But also you can fill in chapter 1 even deeper and go into, why do you want that? Why is that even an importance? And you've got to get really deep with this. Not go, I just want more confidence. Where? What scenario? Where did you not feel confident? And how will it affect your life in a positive way? Write that down. And lastly, if you didn't do anything about it, could you live with it? What are the repercussions if you didn't do anything about it? Would it get worse? Write all these clearly down. Where you're at right now, where you want to go, why you want that, how it's going to affect your life when you get there or on the journey to getting there, and what's going to happen if you don't do anything about it. And why it's super important, like I've just mentioned, to understand where you're at right now, rock bottom, the worst that you're feeling, because I see it too many times where guys are coming to me, they're not happy, they're unfit, they're unhealthy, they've not looked after themselves for 5, 10, 15 years, and they've always wanted to do something about it. They look in the mirror and they can't look for longer than a second because they hate the reflection. Clothes don't fit, they don't feel attractive, they have less sex, they're moody, stressed. But they start working, they start implementing some exercise, start implementing a bit of a cleaner diet, and start to feel a bit better about themselves. And that rock bottom emotion that clicked on that motivation, that flipped the switch, has now gone. It's disappeared because they're starting to feel a little bit better about themselves. And it only takes that little bit to them become too content. Like, okay, awesome. And then what happens is people take the foot off the gas. And they take the foot off the gas because they're feeling a bit better. And then they slowly start to go back to the habits, the routines that I had previously. Not going to the gym, not eating as well, not moving as much, because they didn't do chapter 1. They weren't clear on what their actual ultimate vision was, what ultimate happiness was meant to be. They're just going, I just don't want to be in this position. But without then identifying that first position, really identifying it, people start to slip back towards that because they're getting a little bit too comfortable with just some small changes. And I'm not saying that small changes aren't good. They are fantastic. But we've got to be in that understanding of this is why chapter 1 is important, because you're like, I don't want to return to that guy. This is why I started doing something about it, because I wasn't happy. And this is then what fuels the fire to carry on with your mission, with your journey. So this is why it's a great thing to reflect, look back, don't look too far forward, because again, this can really demotivate us. Is having having a goal, having a vision, having something that we want to aim towards, but then not being content with the mission that we're on right now and the content with the growth that we are seeing, and just relying. It's like looking up a mountain. If you start at the bottom, you look up to the top of the mountain going, oh my God, that's miles away. And then you start to walk, and then you just keep looking up at the mountain going, that's too far, that's too far, that's too far. But then you never look back and go, oh my God, actually, I've come a long way on this journey. I have got it in me. I didn't think I could do it back then, and I've started to make some absolutely amazing progression. And if I continue this at this speed, at this focus, I'm going to get to that top. It's going to be hard, obviously. It's not easy. But I've already proven to myself that I can at least get to this point. So there's nothing stopping me from continuing onto that goal. And this actually goes into another aspect of things, of your thoughts, your beliefs that you're telling yourself are the biggest things that are probably holding you back. I used to believe that I didn't have the genetics to build muscle. I didn't have the education to get into great shape. I wasn't strong. I wasn't fit. That wasn't me. That's not my personality. And right or wrong, you're going to believe it. I think Warren Buffett said something along the line. I think it was Warren Buffett or Ford. Anyway, someone quite successful said the same thing. Don't matter what you say to yourself. It could be true, it could be not, but it's going to be true because you believe what you are telling yourself. So if you're always telling yourself that you can't lose fat, that it's not for you, that you're always going to be unhealthy, that you're always going to be unfit, that work stops you, that I'm always too busy, or the kids are this, blah, blah. Everything that you tell yourself, right or wrong, you're right, because you're going to believe it. And this is what stopped me, because then I started to you get in your own head and you start to prove yourself right. And it's a place where it's probably the only time you don't want to be right, because you start to go, okay, well, I'm telling myself I'm not genetically gifted, so what's the point? And then you just don't take action then. Or you might take action, but it might be very sporadic, might not be consistent, it might not be the action that you need to take, or as effort-driven as it needs to be. So the beliefs that you tell yourself are super important. So you need to shift that mindset, and this is why it's super important. I read a book whilst I was on holiday, Think and Grow Rich. This is just about business, but you can kind of take the concepts of this and put it into your health and fitness. And one of those stepping stones was write down your goal, write down when you want to achieve your goal, write down how you're going to achieve your goal, and say it out loud to yourself every single day, because you're thinking it, you're saying it, you're starting to believe it. And once you start to believe it, you are much more likely to take action. And that is the only thing that's stopping anybody is action, is taking the steps that we need to create the goals that we want to create and we want to get to, and obviously get to that fulfillment and happiness that we want to get to. But if we forget about the goal, if it's not always in plain sight, we can lose that momentum. And again, it comes back to, like I've just what I mentioned before, with guys who are in rock bottom, starting to do little things about their health, about their fitness, starting to feel a little bit better in themselves, starting to feel a little bit more confident, a little bit fitter, a little bit stronger, but then too quickly getting comfortable with this new normal. And it's not kind of hit that tipping point just yet that it becomes momentum. And then what happens with that is they forget about their ultimate vision, they forget about where they've come from, and then they start to slow down. And the only thing with people that then start to slow down too slowly is the stop. And when they stop, it's only a matter of time that they go back to that first ever decision that they made when they were at rock bottom to create a change. So this is why it's super important to write down what we want to achieve, why we want to achieve it, because this then keeps it ingrained in our mind of, yeah, actually, no, that's why I'm working towards. Yeah, that's what I really, truly want, and I'm going to put everything in my efforts, even if it takes me, if I've set 12 weeks, it takes me 14 weeks, it takes me 16 weeks, it takes me a year. I don't care how long it takes, because I know that that's going to give me the fulfillment and everything else that goes with that when I reach that goal. You've also got to remember with your health and your fitness that the journey is super important as well. And again, a lot of people can kind of get this fixation on too much on the end goal. Again, it's that mountain experience, right? It's that climbing up a mountain, getting to the top, and then you've completed it, and then you've got to walk back down again. The top is amazing. The top is something that you want to get to. That's the achievement, right? That's the focus. That's the North Star. But it's the fulfillment and content and the hard work and the gratitude that you have for yourself along the journey, knowing that you have put everything that you can into getting to that top, that truly gives you the happiness that you want, because you've got resilience, you've got discipline, you've built new habits, new routines, a new identity. And I think that you don't want to lose fat. You don't want less fat. All you want to do is improve your standards of yourself, right? Because when you're carrying more fat than you like, it reflects on you as a person, right? And this is what makes you feel unconfident. This is what makes you not feel the person that you truly are, because you are letting yourself down. You might even feel like you're letting other people down. You might even feel that people are judging you for the way that you look. And then this again affects you as a person, because you're truly not showing up as your authentic self. All because you're carrying some fat, but it's not because of the fat, it's because the standards that you allow yourself to live by. So that is what then introducing exercise, introducing a balanced diet, introducing more movement, the byproduct of all this then obviously takes fat away from yourself. But it's then that it gives you this more confident, more energetic, more authoritative person, and you truly being the person that you truly want to be. And it's not that people probably still won't talk about you, because they might do, but you've got this air of, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not worried about that anymore, because I know that I am doing my best, and I'm being my best, and I'm doing everything in my power to make that happen. And that's the difference. It takes away the worry when you are trying every single day to just do what you can to be your ultimate best. And you don't need to be perfect, but you just need to know, am I getting better? Am I progressing? So with that, a book that you can read, fantastic one, is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Gives you really good practical tools on how to really ingrain new habits, remove old habits, or mask over old habits so that your new habits are overtaking the old habits, and then you slowly wean them out. There's a lot of good practical tools in terms of habits that James talks about in his book, so it's something I massively recommend for that. So that basically is what the mindset is that we need to kind of create the life that we want. And again, you can take that out of health and fitness and put it into other areas, like relationships, careers, for example. But take those on board. Take the where you were or where you are right now, where you want to be, what's the repercussions, what's the positive and negative effects, what's the positive if you achieve it, what's the negative if you don't achieve it, if you don't do anything about it. Can you live with that? And just remember to reflect. This is why it's good to check in with yourself every single week. Check your weight, check your measurements, but check in with yourself as well. What's working, what's not working? Am I showing up? Am I actually doing what I keep saying I'm going to do, or am I just still talking? Am I just thinking and not being an actual action taker, being practical about things? And just remember why you started. I hope these have been practical tips that you can take on board. I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into a little bit how my brain works and how I attack things in life. Again, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I'm still implementing these right now. I'm still trying to improve in other areas of my life. But you've got to get to that place where it just becomes habits, because it's those daily decisions, those daily focuses of energy that add up over the week, add up over the month, add up over the year, add up over time. It's not trying to hit a home run if you watch baseball. It's just trying to get the bases. Just get the bases. Just chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. You might every now and again get a home run. Absolutely amazing. But don't have that perspective of everything. Every shot needs to, every hit. What did you say? Hit? Strike? Yeah, strike. Every strike needs to be a home run. It doesn't. You're just chipping away, you're chipping away, you're chipping away, and you might get those every now and again. Stay tuned for the next one.